a.m. on east coast of Australia.
Of course, you had to join in as well.
Yeah, and under New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, severe weather. It's going to be the most intense system the eastern and southeastern region has experienced this winter.
So there you are, and David runs Force 13 AU for anyone with Australian interests on.
And you can always link.
Tonight. You've got what?
The viewers can always subscribe to the channel.
He's got to do that. Okay.
I've got to. I've got to plug it.
A question now, is Lekima similar to Lekima of 2013? I did a tweet earlier on my personal Twitter account about how... just a comparison picture, really, between the two. They're not that similar, although Lekima of 2013 did also have a pretty small eye, and this one does have quite a small eye, or it did when it did its peaking. So it does have some similarities. Not carbon copies, but the Lekima Francisco configuration of 2013 is remarkably like the one of 2019. Yeah, there's a few differences, but ultimately Francisco was moving on towards Korea and Japan, whilst Lekima was out at sea in the Philippine Sea. And that happened again. The only thing we didn't count on was Krosa.
Krosa came later in 2013, and after Krosa, guess what happened? Gee, I wondered.
Yes, I was there, indeed.
Yep. Well, actually, there was something between Krosa and this thing.
Yeah, I was talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
It was a
That's
monumental
what I was
event.
talking about, too. Clearly monumental,
30W?
yep. 30W, because it didn't develop. What was 31W again?
I am.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, Nathan, I've been able to verify this camera, and it does look like it is live, so I can
I thought we already gathered that.
Yeah, but I hadn't verified its location, though. I just verified the location.
Alright, well, where is this, Tim?
Okay, this is... As soon as I can get the map back up.
Very choppy.
This is... Yeah, it is very choppy. But this is out of Sakieta, Ishigaki. Yeah, it is. This is in the town of Sakieta on the Ishigaki Island in Okinawa Prefecture. This is actually just out in front of an agricultural farm there. It is overlooking the harbor there. And you have there in the distance, you would probably see, and it's kind of hard to see because it is very choppy and grainy.
Yeah. The clouds look pretty low.
Yeah, they do. I'm trying to see their... Trying to see what we've got over here. There is a couple local businesses in the area. I think that's what that little peninsula in the distance is that, and then it does overlook to the other side of the island, and then you have Tatiomi Island a little bit further out. But this is most likely looking down towards the south, towards the other side of Ishigaki Island. So you would have the towns of Arakawa, Ishigaki itself, Okawa, and then you have a few of the areas over there.
Alright, let's give you a little update, viewers. It will start to appear at the bottom of our screen now. The distance from land, the distance from Miyakojima is now 152 miles, so it has moved 9 miles closer since we started the stream 2 hours ago. Ishigaki just had some heavy rain in the last half an hour. It looks like it's clearing. And again, I don't know exactly where this camera is looking. Which town again?
This is in the town of Sakieta. This is on the western edge of Ishigaki Island. So it is that westernmost peninsula that juts out
And
off the end there.
which way is it looking? Is it looking west then now at this point?
It's panning around, so if it is looking, that may be Tatayomi Island that it's seeing out over the distance. It does look like it does pan around, and if it does pan further east, then you would probably
back now.
see you'd probably see a faint look of Kohama Island. But this is sitting just out in front of an agricultural farm, so you can see some of the farm structures there just out in front of it, right along the coastline. This is probably less than a half mile or so from the waterway there.
Yeah, I'm... Alright, I'll take your word for that. I can't put it in my head because if I can figure out exactly where this camera is, we can and which way it's facing, we can then talk about what's coming in next and what to look out for as we watch this. Because there should be a clear slot moving through next. The rain will be clearing out a little bit. So, well,
I can throw Google Maps up here, and I have it marked where the nearest point of interest is.
We'll come back to that. Tim, let's see if we can find out more information. Let's now go back to Isaac's imagery. A wider shot of the radar there right now, and you can see on that radar as well. Looks like Ishigaki didn't get too bad a drenching there. It's Iriomote, which appears to have had a little bit more of a shower. Some of the red zones just clear of the island there.
Apologies for the delay. It takes a while for it to catch up. But when it does, it's smooth. But as you were noting, you could see the outer bands affecting the islands, and they're getting really gusty winds, as you're able to see on the live feed there, and also I was able to see earlier a few hours back at James Reynolds, who was on. Let's see. Like I've been saying, the past few hours, this continue to deteriorate as the storm draws near. If you haven't done your necessary preparations yet on the island, it's pretty much too late to. It's gonna be here in 3 hours, so you have very, very little time, if any, to even. So, I'm not sure.
Of course, at least it is daylight hours now for any emergency preparations to conclude.
I don't know what the winds are right now.
I'm just about to find that out for us here. Well, I'll get onto that as soon as possible as we continue to look at this imagery.
Let me know when if you want me to move.
Well, if you could just load up another wide shot again for us. So at the moment that the wind speed they're reporting down there is 36 miles per hour.
That's about right.
Yeah, that would seem pretty accurate, I guess, given the storm's size. I would expect tropical storm force winds to really be approaching those islands very soon.
And that's 36 miles per hour now. An hour ago, it was 29.
Yeah, so maybe even within the hour, tropical storm force winds will arrive on those islands then.
We'll keep you abreast of that as well. I can also tell you how much rain has fallen. I'm still getting used to these JMA graphics. I don't know how long an interval this rainfall is. Only showing 2.5 millimeters over Ishigaki so far. 5.5 over Miyakojima. But I don't know how far back, how much that calculates. That 24-hour total, or is it just 1 hour total maybe? I think it's actually just a 1 hour total. Yeah, looks like it. So I think 5.5 millimeters in 1 hour on Miyakojima between 9 and 10 a.m. This is Force13 Live. Any more questions? Send them in. Start your message with Force13 all in text. We got a question about surge there. What do you think the storm surge is going to amount to?
I was thinking there may be
Quite a bit, I should think.
Yeah.
I'd guess
I
maybe
really don't
15
know.
feet
It's not really
plus.
affecting land that much. Or it's staying out of land, I should say.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, these are, I guess, small islands, but I think so.
Okay.
I guess storm surge could be a significant threat, but I don't know how like mountainous they are. They might be mountainous. I don't know if they're flat or I don't know the geography of
They're
the
all
islands
quite
there.
elevated in this area and jagged and
Okay. So yeah, maybe storm surge isn't like such a huge threat, but it will probably be pretty
more of a threat for China, I would say, yeah?
yeah, more of a threat for China because that's going to be like a big landmass. It's better. Surge will be worse on a big landmass rather than like a small island. Well, if the island is like flat and low in elevation, it's going to be pretty disastrous. But if it's like, jagged and mountainous, it's not going to be as bad.
According to the JTWC, maximum significant wave heights from the storm are 28 feet, so that'll be feet or so.
Interesting.
Can't give you exact number. There's no wave predicted by the
We're looking at another
Around that
visible
28
image right now, showing you Lekima. Let's zoom out so that we can see Krosa again, which, might be sneaking up on us. It does appear to be looking better in every frame. So, who can I throw it to here whilst I go and investigate what's going on with Krosa right now?
I just wanted to jump in. I made an error. I looked up the wrong storm by accident. I was actually looking at Krosa instead of Lekima for the wave height. For Lekima, for Lekima, maximum wave heights for that are 38 feet.
That sounds more like
the latest update. So that'll probably be about 20 feet or so. I don't know if there's a second version for that. But probably about 15 feet or so on the ground.
We'll leave it with
So
Isaac's imagery for a minute or two here, whilst I take a look and see what's going on with Krosa right now, for myself. Whether there is grounds for any kind of upgrade. Well, doesn't look quite so good on the infrared, I must say, as it does on the visible. No.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. It's been struggling pretty much all its.
The answer is no on that one. But it does look photogenic on the satellite imagery today. And enormous. What are the chances that Japan will see a landfall from Krosa? At the moment, they're fairly low. They're going to start to increase.
Well, it's kind of too far out, so it's kind of still, I don't know.
I'm still talking 6-7 days.
I mean, that's 6-7 days out, and it's kind of hard to give really a percentage chance for that far out. It's just really uncertain, more than anything.
Is any more intensification going to occur? Question. Probably for Lekima. hold the phone on that one. We'll have a look in just a moment what it's doing. And I think I saw another one just then somewhere. Will Lekima hit Taiwan or get even stronger? I think we've all pretty much assumed now that it's going to miss Taiwan for a landfall, but typhoon conditions are still possible there.
I think they're actually still quite likely. Not sure entirely about that, but I think northern Taiwan, or most of northern, looks like the northern tip of Taiwan could still easily see typhoon conditions.
All right.
Okay, there you go, Nathan. Live camera with Google Earth overlaid where this webcam is at, so you have a bit of a better
You
idea.
must be kidding me.
Hey, you want to know where you wanted to know where this was at? I went ahead and I found it.
Yeah, I want to know. Zoom in on that.
All right, it
There's
is
a big
on
zoom
the.
in. Okay.
All right, well, there's Sakieta. It is
Gotcha.
this agricultural farm that is on the northwestern side of Ishigaki.
So
That is
still,
where this camera's coming from.
I'm still at a loss at which way is it facing then? Is it facing south in that case?
It would have to be.
It must be.
That would be my guess.
Southeast.
Yeah, it's probably overlooking this area here.
Yep. So, if there's any more rain coming in, then we'll know that we're to look straight ahead to see if we can see it on the way.
Yeah, it doesn't. I have to update the JMA, and Isaac, you might have some better imagery than I will on if we're going to actually see another band come through Ishigaki Island or not.
Run that by me again. My connection went out.
You've got probably the best imagery in terms of radar on whether or not we're going to see another band come through Ishigaki.
Oh yeah. But I don't think I'm gonna be able to share it anymore because I have to let my device charge.
Well, I can tell you at the moment, looking back at satellite imagery of Lekima, it doesn't look like it's improving in its appearance. It's stayed very much the same for a good 6-8 hours now, and I would still stick with the 145 miles an hour that we went with a few hours ago for its intensity right now, guys.
I don't know if this was ever mentioned, but it is now 130 miles per hour on the ATCF.
That is true, so they're catching up.
Well, now it's only 10 knots off, so it's better than, I guess, what they've been saying previously. So,
finally up to a point where it's not too outlandish to say that it is 130 miles an hour. That is possible. Don't forget, if you guys who are watching, maybe not as experienced or watch our streams very often, might not be aware, there is no exact science when it comes to estimating the intensity of these storms. We have all kinds of different satellite estimating methods, which all differ for each different storm. Unless you've got direct ground observations, and even then you can't say that's an exact science either, because you would need ground observations everywhere around the storm's eye wall to get an accurate picture of how strong the winds actually were and what the peaks might have been. So we're always coming up with different estimates for just how strong this storm is, and to be honest, I think society really has built up the idea over decades that the wind speed is the be-all and end-all of the storm. 155 miles per hour, Category 4, 160 miles an hour, Category 5, makes all the difference. No, not really. It's not just the wind speed, and indeed, if you've got a building of poor construction, Category 3, maybe even Category 1, will completely destroy that building. And as well as that, you've not just got the wind, but you've got the huge amounts of rain, the size of the storm, and the potential for flooding as well. And that is one thing that the CDPS, which is a scale invented by Devon Williams, one of our members, tries to scale and factor in with these storms. And on that scale, Lekima right now is a stage 10 out of 10. That is the highest possible on the scale. That's actually even more than Haiyan. Not because it's stronger, because it isn't, but because the wind field is so much larger and the rainfall potential is so much larger than that particular storm was. Haiyan was actually not a particularly wet storm, but the winds completely decimated huge tracts of the Philippines. If there was land in the way of this storm right now, more significant size land areas, more populated land areas than these southernmost Japanese islands, which still have significant populations, by the way, then we could have been talking about major damage, destruction, and losses. That could still happen when this storm reaches the coast of China, because it could still be a Category 2 at that point, with a significant storm surge and huge amounts of rainfall which could reach 400-500 millimeters along the eastern coast, stretching inland. After that quite extensive piece that I've just come out with, let's now go back to Tim.
Take a look at another live shot of Taiwan. Specifically, this is the city of Taipei, where it is in the clear right now. I'm actually trying to see if I can find any information on any of the Taiwan reconnaissance, see if there's any information on that. I'm not having any luck, because that information would be very useful for not only to us but the viewers. And I'm not sure if the JMA actually has a team out there or not doing recon. I know if this were in the Atlantic, the National Hurricane Center would have hurricane hunters out in this
Tim.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about that is that apparently they have been planning on doing that. I don't know if they are or not, but I've heard that if they are doing it right now, unfortunately the data will remain private or not be of use to us, really, from what I've heard. So that's unfortunate if they are doing that.
That is a shame, since in terms of American influence, we have not had a reconnaissance plane in this area since 1987.
Yep.
So sad.
Indeed.
Every now and then we get an occasional recon flight into the Westpac, but they're far and few in between. The last one I could remember off the top of my head was Maggie in 2010. So every now and then they do go in.
Taiwan have sent their own aircraft into, around storms since 2003, mainly for the environmental conditions around the storms rather than in the storms.
And it looks like, from what I've been able to gather, because I'm actually trying to find some research, it looks like their reconnaissance is an actual aerosonde, which would be a drone that they actually use.
Really?
And their aerosonde team actually did an eyewall penetration recon back in 2006. And that's about the only information I've been able to find.
Yeah, they really...
It appears to be raining there now, Tim.
Let me take a look at the Taiwan radar here and see.
The road looks slick now.
Yeah, let me take a look at the Taiwan radar here, see if we've had another batch roll through here.
I was able to put my screen share back up.
Let's see, it's what,
Bring it back to Isaac's imagery for the time being.
Yeah, I'm trying to time this radar out to when it actually happened. Right now, it looks like if it did just happen, it's not showing up on the Taiwan radar feedback.
To be fair, it doesn't look heavy, does it?
No, probably just a few showers that just blew through.
I think that's the cloud shadow on those hills, and the sun's out over there. So, oh yeah, it's coming out here now.
So yeah, and this particular
Just
webcam,
very
I can actually.
small amounts of rain.
Yeah, this is actually in the southeastern side of Taipei City, and yeah, actually you can see where it's just gotten a little bit darker, and you can see a few raindrops coming down in front of that camera now.
All right. So there we are with that. Isaac, any news on the eye wall structure?
Good question. Let me go and
That's
see.
why I asked it.
I'm tied up right now. I'm trying to charge my phone and
Okay.
do something here.
Let's move on to
So
some
ask me
other
in a little
imagery
bit.
instead. Looking at some latest imagery, I must say, I don't know about you guys, but it's starting to look a bit more lopsided in these last few frames. Any input, any thoughts? Do you agree? Upon viewing this imagery, if you can access it.
I'm actually trying.
Oh, let me have a look.
I'm actually trying to look at slider imagery.
Does kind of look a bit more lopsided, like it's sort of getting stretched out, you
Yeah.
could say, or maybe it's starting to like fill in on the eastern and western side, and sort of like the eyes sort of like trying to crush itself. I don't know.
Maybe trying, and maybe actually trying to finally do an eyewall placement cycle here.
What, another one?
I'm looking at. I don't know how many it's done already. To my knowledge, it hasn't done really many. It's in the process of doing one, I believe. But I'm looking at radar too, and I'm also seeing that too, where it's being slightly elongated, the eye itself. And that outer eyeball. Actually, no, that outer eyeball is kind of diminished in the last 2 frames, so it could be
Really?
actually trying to do an eyeball placement cycle as we speak, possibly. Trying to, keyword.
And interesting to know, just take a look at the wind shear graphic on both of them, and I'll actually switch over to this so you have it on screen for the viewers, Nathan. Is both systems are under very favorable conditions. Lekima right now under 5 knots of shear or less. Krosa under 10 knots of shear. So both of them under really great conditions to really take advantage of what they've got available to them.
Now, that graphic that you're showing is it's of course not the best graphic, but it gives you a basic depiction, if I could speak, depiction of what's going on there. I think Krosa is getting slightly seared to the northwest, but I don't think it's impacting the CDO itself that much as it was yesterday.
Alright, let's play this again alongside visible imagery here. Just to show you again the evolution of Lekima in those last few frames. You know something? That's a northward jog right there. Looks like one.
Yes, it is, and that is something that the models were hinting at when we looked at it last night, where it could try to take it into a bit of a northward jog and maybe a ridge building in out of Russia or Japan, where it could possibly ride the ridge in a sense. That would be my interpretation of it with its current track, where it's going to parallel almost to the north of Taiwan and then start making almost a northwesterly curve towards Shanghai and Beijing later on.
Very interesting appearance in the last few hours there as we look at it again. That western side almost looks like it's made landfall on something, but it hasn't. It's still over clear, open waters. We're going to take a short break here at Force 13 HQ just for a few moments, gather our thoughts, recollect ourselves, might be a good idea for you to do the same. And we'll be back again with more information on what is happening with Lekima and more coverage live. Stay tuned. Done it again. It's not 3, it's 4 now. It's 4 typhoons. 4. It should have changed. I don't know why that didn't change. Making its infamous landfall, Hurricane Michael is still a Category 3 as it enters the state of Georgia. Welcome back, this is Force 13 Live with the latest imagery, which appears to be packing in a bit there, on Typhoon Lekima. Still a stage 10 on the CDPS scale. That's quite insane. Extreme is the official terminology for that, and the reason why is because of its very large wind field, its potential to deliver a huge amount of rainfall over the southernmost Japanese islands and over Taiwan and China, the eastern coast of China. Alright, I'm joined again by the team. I think there is one new arrival. I think we're now joined by Orlando.
Good evening.
Evening. Now let's switch over to Isaac's imagery again and take a look at that whilst we continue talking to Orlando. What are your thoughts on Lekima tonight?
Honestly, since watching it since earlier, it's been an interesting storm to say the least. Its development and everything about it's all been set up to rapidly intensify, especially when I was viewing it last night. And basically, it's of course an extremely dangerous system. Nothing's changed about that. But yeah, it's whoever's in the path, pretty much, especially along those islands to the south of Japan and between Taiwan. I fear as though those will be possibly hit pretty badly, and it's fair, especially even for Taiwan and China and the whole region that will be affected, to definitely have this at the stage 10 on the CD.
I must say, I think the eye is still regressing at this time.
Perhaps that's a sign of another eyewall replacement cycle.
Well,
I haven't seen the radar.
Well, I'm eyeing that radar right now as we speak, looking there on the left-hand side of Isaac's screen, and I don't really know.
Yeah, it's. I'm looking at it.
Oh, great! The radar went down.
The radar's down.
well, not down, but it blitzed out. Here, I'll show you on my phone because I have an updated look at it. It went down. It's messed
Yeah.
up. So yeah.
Yikes.
Isaac, you've been watching
Hopefully
it for longer. Do you think we're about to see an eyewall replacement cycle here?
I mean, it's been trying to do that for like the last 8 hours or so, and it's kind of failed. But this time,
Well,
I was
yeah,
seeing
it's like
sort
one
of
of those, isn't it?
yeah, it's kind of like a wood chip. It can't decide what I'm on wood chip. U2 couldn't decide whether or not to form an eye or not after it peaked out. Is the only similar storm I could think of in terms of eyewall placements. But yeah, I've been looking at radar and it's been wanting to do that. And before the radar kind of blitzed out on my end, it looked like it was about to undergo one by the looks of it. But it was hard to say again because the radar blitzed out on my end.
Yeah, looking at the banding, it might try. I'm not sure, but it doesn't seem like there's a second eye wall ready yet to take over.
Well, yeah, well, it would be a third one now, wouldn't it? Because we'd already had that second one that happened earlier. And
Yeah,
now we're looking out for a third one that might end up forming somewhere.
I think this would be its first one actually. I don't remember the second one or whatever number it's at now.
Well, surely what's left of the first one is now swirling around the current one.
The storm just can't make up its mind. It's like reminds me so much of U2 in terms of like how many eyewall placement cycles it did. But in any case, still a dangerous storm nonetheless. Whether or not it weakens or intensifies or whatever the heck it decides to do.
Just want to bring attention now to Krosa, really.
Oh yeah, Krosa.
When the imagery loads. Okay, all I've got is a static image right now. But
I can load Krosa for a second.
this pretty much shows us that very large amounts of rain are falling on the northern pulse of the storm, its leading edge, which isn't far from, very close actually now to Iwo Jima. Far-flung parts of Japan are being affected by two different typhoons right now.
Yeah, it's remarkable how we have two typhoons active at the same time. Albeit it's not the most rare thing to happen. You don't see it every day.
No, but it's somewhat rare that these two... Okay, yeah, you can get large typhoons, but we got two at a time right now.
We got one that's debating whether or not to develop and one that's debating whether or not to have an eyewall placement cycle.
There they are on the screen once more. Again, huge. And just in case you haven't seen it yet, further east, yes, that tiny thing there is still the remnants of Hurricane Eric. Still alive.
Oh,
Entering the
please.
entering the Western Pacific.
Please, no.
Won't happen again, Ryan.
No,
Sorry. Won't happen again.
Where's
Okay.
96W?
96W is still in existence. Those in the Philippines might be interested, just west of Luzon, and it's probably going to track towards the western coast of Luzon, the northwestern tip perhaps. Not much left of the system, but it is still blowing up convection.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna get slingshotted up by Lekima's outflow there.
One or
So
two
it's
models
gonna-
think that Lekima will eat 96W for breakfast in a day or two.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
What's Tim doing?
I've got
We
the
can give it a
live shot for
mention.
Taiwan. Yeah, I
Okay,
know a
with our
few
stream.
of our viewers, a few of our viewers in the chat are talking about U.S. weather. I am seeing a tornado warning now in effect for Plymouth, Elkhart Lake, Mount Calvary in Wisconsin until 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time. It is radar indicated, and it does have a pretty good couplet on NextRad radar, trying not to diving too much into the U.S. front because the typhoons that we have going on the West Pac are just a little bit more important. But rest assured, to you, the viewers, I am keeping an eye on both the U.S. front and the West Pacific front at the same time.
All right, and of course you'll be keeping us on top of those live streams too. You've probably got 3 loaded up now, haven't you?
I just have the 2. I have the one in Taipei, and I have the other one on Sekita Ishigaki Island. Those are the only 2 that I have up right now on top of everything else between the Taiwan radar and the JMA radar, and then slider imagery and ATCF. So yeah, I have just about everything up that I possibly could have.
Yeah, of course. The International Space Station will pass over, hopefully, Lekima in about, David, 45, 50 minutes?
About that, Nathan.
Something like that. So we eagerly await that one, and hopefully we get a better view than we got earlier on tonight. So stay tuned for that if you want to stay up for something. You can take a look at that later today. At the moment, the International Space Station is over South America. Any questions? Send in your questions. Start your message with Force 13 all in text, and we'll take your questions gladly. This is part of the reason why we're here in the first place, so that we can actually directly engage with everyone. It's a community after all. And you can join our weather community on our Discord server as well, if that interests you. Underneath our live stream right now, there is a link to that, as well as some of our other outlets, if that's something that takes your interest. And that is something that's there all the time, 24/7, 365 days a year, storm or no storm, unlike these live streams.
Indeed, Nathan, our current Discord server is roughly 270 strong, and we would love to have more join our ranks.
And we're always looking. I mean, I do have to put out this spiel every so often, so just so that everyone is aware, we are always looking for people to help out with our coverage as well, and our work that we do, because it is community led. So if you do have abilities or want to help us out with our coverage, you're more than welcome to contact us through any of our mediums too. But right now, we are on top of the situation with Lekima, and Krosa is also intensifying slowly. All eyes are on Lekima's eye, really, when it comes down to it right now. Is it going to do an eye wall replacement cycle or not?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the radar and I'm just really wondering why it's glitching out. That looks up.
Still very difficult to tell what it's doing on the satellite imagery.
Satellite, even radar, nobody knows. Anyone's guessing.
Well, yes, radar, it's still holding on by the looks of things, just for the time being. But it looks to me, Isaac, would you concur, the northeastern side of the eye wall looks to me like it's about ready to give out at any time? I don't think Isaac's with us right now. Anyone else agree with that position?
I would have to take a look at rapid scan. I was actually looking at the radar out of Saipan, where some of the rainfall from Krosa is actually showing up on the Saipan radar out there, believe it or not.
Well, I agree
That
with
can't be a huge surprise, yeah.
Like, when it comes to that portion of the eye wall, it really does seem like it has been waning. Yeah, it could give out.
Alright, and we do have a report coming in from one of our viewers. Thank you again for this report. Now getting rainfall in Shuangzi District, eastern mountainous area of New Taipei City District. Thank you again for that report.
Honestly, if I were to give my opinion from the storm, it's really just outside of preparing. If you're in that area, it's really just wait and see when it comes to the storm's current.
Let's add a little bit of information here that might actually be useful at this point. And I'm just going to read out some distances from populated places from the storm's center right now. Now, I believe most of Asia uses kilometers, so I will try and facilitate that as soon as I can get a fix on the storm center, actually. So that would be nice if we could get that anytime soon. Alright, we'll come back to that, I guess. We're just looking at this screen for the time being. Also try to figure out what has happened with my imagery visualizer now. Everything's going to pot here, we're doing our best. What we did know earlier is that it was 152 miles from Miyakojima. That's one distance I can give to you. That is roughly 240 kilometers. Tim?
Let me get. I was gonna say I can give you a center fix. This is off of RAM Slider imagery, so it is gonna be just a little outdated, but looks like center fix is at. Maybe...
I've got it now, Tim. Don't worry.
I was gonna say 22 north, 124 east would be my estimate, but
the latest center fix, if you want the information, 22.8 degrees north, 126 degrees east exactly. That now puts it 146 miles from Miyakojima, 159 miles from Ishigaki, 222 miles from, I think that one's Yonaguni, the one furthest west.
Yeah, I was actually trying to plot those coordinates in right quick.
320 miles from Taipei. I'll read them out in kilometers now. Ishigaki, 200 and I'm struggling. 270 kilometers. Okay, we'll get there. 270. Yonaguni is 350 kilometers away. Taipei, 320 miles, which is again, doing math in my head real quick, about 510 kilometers from the center of Lekima. Taichung on the western coast, that's 350 miles. That is around 560 kilometers. Further up towards China, along the coast, it's taking an incredibly long time for me to get these distances.
I got you covered, Nathan. I got a converter in front of me, so
Wenzhou,
as soon as you call it the mileage, I'll be...
Wenzhou, 486 miles.
780 kilometers.
Hangzhou, 627 miles.
1,010 kilometers.
And Shanghai, which is what a lot of people want to know about, is 646 miles away.
Despite it looking like the ice cooling, and
that is 1,040 kilometers to Shanghai.
All right, there we go. Orlando, I'm sorry we interrupted you there.
I was just going to say that in spite of the temperature cooling and cloud tops around the area becoming more shallow, it seems as though the structure itself is becoming more circular and uniform.
Alright, we're going to humor that person. Just the one. Wants to know how many miles it is from Los Angeles, California. Great.
Ooh.
To
Pull out
Lekima?
Google Maps.
Probably like
A lot.
I don't know, halfway across the world.
Roughly
Something like that.
6,600 miles, in case you wanted to know.
Oh gosh.
Alright,
Why did we do that?
whole ocean away. Great.
Literally.
Hold on, I got that.
My screen's just going out, Nathan, so can you go to somebody else's for a second while I fix it?
We've fixed it.
Ten-
Yes?
10,622 kilometers
Did
for
you
those.
really have to do that?
Hey, the viewers ask, we deliver. That's what we do.
The customer's always right until they want something for free. Anyway, here are the two
That or something
typhoons.
completely outlandish.
There they are. Again, Krosa is enormous, but it's weaker, believe it or not. Yes, bigger doesn't always mean stronger. Typhoon novices might not know that, but Lekima is much stronger, even though it is smaller. But Krosa, if it gets a little bit more stronger, then it could also push stage 10 on the CDPS, owing to its size and rainfall estimates alone.
So we'd be
Lekima
lucky.
already is a stage 10. That is the highest possible stage on the CDPS scale, don't forget. It's very severe. We believe at the moment it is taking a northward jog. That would put Taiwan a little bit more in the clear. Only a little bit. Still, typhoon conditions are possible on the northern tip of Taiwan, and we're most concerned for those Japanese islands, particularly Miyakojima and Ishigaki.
So there's the potential we could be looking at twin terrors.
Twin terrors, do you say?
Yes.
Well, the future of Krosa is extremely uncertain at this point. A graphic that we haven't shown in a while, or two graphics that we haven't shown in a while. First of all, the JTWC map for Krosa looks like this, and you can see the area of uncertainty for that wind field. Tropical storm force winds could strike anywhere from Tokyo to Nagasaki. It is as remarkable as that. Not both of those places, you understand, but one or the other could get tropical storm force winds. Those are the wind speed probabilities now on the screen. Near 100% chance at Iwajima, which is about to get the outer edge of this storm right now, with quite high rainfall totals even in that leading edge. Ogasawara, around 75%. Tokyo, only about 7 or 8% at the moment. That will change over time. Osaka and that region there, around the same, 8%, maybe 9%. So, not yet at a 1 in 10 chance, but those chances will increase as we get nearer the time, as confidence increases on exactly where Krosa is going to go. We did skim past the wind speed probabilities for Lekima there as well. This graphic would mainly benefit China and Korea at this point. Parts of West and South Korea, 10% or more already at this quite early stage for them in this storm's life. The coast of China,
Okay, Nathan.
some areas just about reaching 90%, Shanghai at just over 60%. Tim.
And looks like, the Central Weather Bureau, this is a bit of a breaking news. Viewer just brought it to my attention. I'm verifying it. The Central Weather Bureau out of Taiwan issuing typhoon warnings across their area. We have some sea warnings for the sea north of Taiwan, sea northeast and southeast of Taiwan. Some actual warnings now include Keelung, Yilan County, New Taipei City, and Hualien counties. This is as of about an hour ago that's been issued.
9:15.
Mm-hmm.
So that's half an hour ago. if my clocks are correct.
I believe so, yeah. I'm looking to see if there's been anything issued on the JMA side right quick.
You've got the equivalent of typhoon warnings for those southern islands, naturally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's the information. We'll update our graphics soon. Hopefully very soon. To reflect that new information. Again, there's a new latest visible imagery of what Lekima looks like right now. We'll have more visuals of all kinds. Well, let's just go back to Isaac there as well. Another look there on the right hand side. The eye cleared for a while and then it went away again, and now it's sort of in the middle. Whether it is coming back or not, we still don't know. And is it losing its shape in those latest frames? That's what we all want to know, because that will have big ramifications for its future, maybe even in its track as well. We're cutting away for a break here. We'll be back with more coverage, at least another hour here live. This is Force 13's live coverage of Typhoon Lekima continuing into the next hour. Come back, just a few minutes. Continues in a moment. You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com, our YouTube page, youtube.com/Force13, on Facebook under the same name, Force13, and our Twitter handle, it's @Force13 if you wish to get in touch. You can also add Force13 on Skype, and my personal account on Discord, Fool13, at extension 9094. You're watching Force 13's live streaming service.